sun will always shine on the old Liberty tree. It's a tall old tree and a strong old tree. And we are the sons, yes, we are the sons of liberty.
Mike, what's up, bro?
Thank you for having me back on, Ben.
Oh, of course, Mike. We're just doing celebration dances here in honor of Thanksgiving and a season of thankfulness. And you have been one of the people who have truly deserving of a celebration dance right now. Way to go. You are stomping on Jack Smith's greasy beard and stomping it right into the McDonald's French fry fryer. And I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of controversy and headline news can we create today, Ben? I think that what we should talk about is the fact that these Democrat operatives who ran this unprecedented Republic-ending lawfare against President Trump, his top aides like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, who went to prison, his supporters on January 6th who were politically persecuted. I think the Trump 47 Justice Department needs to open a criminal probe on what Jack Smith and Jay Bratt and Alvin Bragg and Matthew Colangelo and Tish James and Fannie Willis and Nathan Wade and even these Democrat judges like Engoron, Merchan, and Shutkin have done when they waged this unprecedented, unlawful lawfare against President Trump. And it was obviously election interference. And so I would open a criminal probe under 18 USC Section 241, conspiracy against rights, a very serious federal civil rights felony. Jack Smith is very well aware of this statute, 18 USC Section 241, because it's one of the 4 counts he brought against President Trump in D.C. for the bogus indictment of the former president for objecting to a presidential election, which is allowed by the Electoral Counts and the First Amendment. And I say this very seriously. They need to open this criminal probe because if they must face severe, and I mean severe, legal, political, and financial consequences for what they did to our country by dragging a former and future president through this lawfare and election interference. They have committed a very serious federal civil rights felony, along with many other crimes, 18 USC Section 241. And I say this very seriously to Jack Smith and Jay Bratt and all the goons on their staff. You guys better lawyer up because justice is coming.
Would you serve as special counsel, Mike?
I don't think. I think
you don't need Senate confirmation. No, you don't need Senate confirmation anymore. We know the new rules, Mike.
Listen, I think there are 3 people who I recommended to be AG. I didn't know Pam Bondi was interested. She's the best of them all, so I'm glad that she came forward and agreed to serve as AG because she's fantastic. But special counsel Mark Paoletta, special counsel Chris Landau, special counsel Jeff Clark would be great. The problem is I've run my mouth too much on your show and too many other shows, and so I have to recuse from too many of the cases if I were the special counsel. But in all seriousness, Ben, there has to be accountability. They're not going to just get away with what they did. They spent $100 million in taxpayer money. What did President Trump have to spend? What did these other witnesses have to spend? What did state and local and federal law enforcement have to spend to have President Trump go to these various hellhole court proceedings and protect him while he did this? There has to be accountability. They knew what they were doing was bogus. They knew it was all about the election, and that's obvious by the fact that they shut down these investigations and these prosecutions after the election, after President Trump beat their asses like a drum on November 5th. 312 electoral votes, and guess what? Now he's going to have an attorney general and U.S. attorneys and an FBI director. The hunters are about to become the hunted, boys.
Mike, they could just a small special counsel position. You could be in charge of spanking Big Fanny. Think about it.
That would be an interesting job. I mean, hell, Nathan Wade got $700,000 to do that, so maybe it's not such a bad gig after all. We made news, Ben. We made news.
You brought up a point that you haven't brought up on the show before, Mike, which is that you could charge Jack Smith with some of the charges he brought against Donald Trump. Could you unpack that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the charges that Jack Smith brought in his bogus indictment against President Trump for January 6th was 18 USC Section 241 conspiracy against rights for President Trump's non-crime of objecting to a presidential election, which is allowed by the Electoral Count Act of 1887 and the First Amendment. Democrats objected to Republican wins in 1968, 2000, 2004, 2016. We don't see Al Gore and John Kerry and Hillary Clinton in prison for objecting, right? And so Jack Smith brought this bogus charge. They only brought these charges by these Democrat operatives because they knew President Trump was thinking about running again. And then right after the election, they remember before the election, Ben, oh, the election doesn't matter. This is about justice. And then after the election, they leak out that they're going to drop these things immediately. Look, there have to be consequences. This dirtbag Jack Smith got banished to The Hague after he went after former Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell, a likely presidential or vice presidential contender in 2016. This scumbag got brought back because he is a partisan Scud missile who Democrats launch against Republican presidential or vice presidential contenders. Jack Smith should see the inside of a prison for what he did.
And that would be done through a special counsel investigation via the justice appointed at the Justice Department?
It doesn't even have to be done through special counsel. It could be done through the criminal division, the U.S. attorney for the Southern District. I think that what needs to happen is the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of Florida needs to open a grand jury proceeding in Fort Pierce, Florida, on this criminal conspiracy against rights against all of these Democrat prosecutors and witnesses and operatives and even judges who have engaged in this republic-ending conspiracy against rights.
So it could
USC Section 241.
It could be Jack Smith's home that gets raided by the FBI next.
Yeah, I mean that would actually be justice compared to what he did.
Really quickly here, because I know that a lot of people are talking about it, and I know we have a hard out. The pardoning of Hunter Biden. Will it happen via Joe Biden? Will it happen? Will Trump consider doing it? What's your take, Mike? What would be your advice?
Well, I would say this. If Hunter Biden or Jack Smith or any of these other Biden allies get pardoned by President Biden, then that means that they can no longer assert the Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate themselves, the right against self-incrimination. And so if they're pardoned, that means that they can be hauled in before the Trump 47 Justice Department, before grand juries, before House Republicans, Senate Republicans, the House Judiciary Committee, Oversight Committee, Appropriations Committee, Senate Judiciary Committee, Senate Oversight Committee, Senate Appropriations Committee, the Intel committees. So maybe they should be careful what they ask for when they ask for a pardon, because then they have to testify. And if they refuse to testify, they can be held in contempt of Congress or obstruction of justice, and they can go to prison for that.
I just find it remarkable they come after Matt Gaetz for disproven fraudulent claims, yet you can crack open Hunter Biden's laptop and click on literally anything and find something from the halls of hell, literally. And nobody's ever brought that up. It's all on video. Nobody's ever brought it up. Nobody's ever said a damn thing about it. So. Party of women, Mike. Okay, great. Well, we look forward to you as special counsel. Don't need Senate approval. As we've said many times, we've figured it out for Mike Davis. Jack Smith proved you don't need the Senate to confirm. And so special counsel Mike Davis is going to be really fun. We call him the Viceroy. We encourage him to grow this very long red mustache that he can twist with wax at the very end of it, and to wear a big hat with a feather in it. And so we're sending him that for Christmas, in fact. And so, Mike, expect that in the mail.
Thank you, Ben, and I look forward to the Media Matters screaming headlines after this hit today. So thank you, Ben.
310,000 Americans can't be wrong. Follow Mike Davis and the Article 3 Project. See you, buddy.